First start by securing your thread to the hook and then wrapping it back to about the point of the hook. Snip off the excess thread. The first thing we're going to add to our mayfly is a tail. For the tail we're going to use coq de leon fibers. Select a few fibers and measure them so they're about the length of the shank of the hook, and then secure them down. Once they're secure, wrap your thread back to the bend of the hook and then bring your thread forward to just shy of the eye. That way when we secure down all the fibers, we make sure that our tail is nice and secure and we keep a nice and consistent body throughout the mayfly. Once you've secured everything down to about 3/4 length of the shank, snip off the excess tail material. And once the excess material is out of the way, you can start to build your taper. We're going to do this simply by wrapping our thread around the shank of the hook many times to build a forward taper for the body of our mayfly. And once the body taper is to your liking, bring your thread back to the bend of the hook where we're going to create our rib. The rib itself is just going to be Sharpie marker. We're just going to take a small portion of the thread and color it with the Sharpie marker. Once that's complete, we're just going to wrap our thread around the shank of the hook, starting from the tail, and as soon as we start seeing that black appear, we're going to bring that forward to create a nice rib to our mayfly. Next, we're going to add our wing. The wing itself is going to be made out of Zelon, which we're going to pin around the thread and then secure the thread down on top of the shank of the hook so that way our wing is secured down on top of the shank of the hook. Once we have our wing where we want it, we're going to pin it down with many wraps of thread. This will also build up the thorax of our fly. Once the wing is nice and secure and standing upright, it's time to add the legs. We're simply going to take a little bit of saddle hackle, bare the stem, and secure it down right around and behind the wing. And once that material is nice and secure, bring your thread to the eye of the hook and then begin to wrap your saddle hackle around the shank of the hook to create the legs for your mayfly. We just do a few turns behind the wing and a few in front, and then secure everything down at the eye of the hook. Once everything is nice and secure, snip off the excess material and then whip finish. When whip finishing, it's always best to try and to avoid to capture any loose fibers, but if you do, all we have to do is go back and trim them off after we've snipped off the thread. To finish off the mayfly, we're going to snip the wing down to size. A good way to determine how long your wing should be is by judging how long the length of the shank of the hook is. Just snip it to about that length and then round the top so that it looks more like a mayfly wing. And once the wing is to your desired shape, trim off the bottom portion of the hackle fibers so that the mayfly itself can lay a little bit more flat on the water. And once that's completed, you have yourself a simple mayfly.